Hello, welcome to my channel, another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I am here to do the D tag. The D tag was created over at Jim's channel, Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. There are 9 prompts to this tag. Prompt number 1. D is for Dahl. What is your favorite Roald Dahl? I have not read anything by Dahl. I know it's lacking, but he mainly does children's books, and I never really got into children's books. I did see a TV story adaptation of one of his stories. It was about a young man with a cigarette lighter and an older man who makes a bet to the young man, saying, I bet your cigarette lighter will not ignite 100 times in a row. And the guy takes up the bet. And the bet is, if his lighter lights 100 times, he gets a large sum of money. If it fails, the older man gets to cut off the younger man's finger. A great little story, but I never read anything by the author. Prompt number 2. D is for Doctor Who. What is your favorite book about time travel? I'm going to go boring and old school and say The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. That is just a magnificent little novel and almost absolutely perfect. A good follow-up would be Behold the Man by Michael Moorcock. And you can read it as the short novel of 140 pages or as a little novella. It was written as a novella first, and the author later expanded it into the little novel that I showed you. Both of them are very good. And it is essentially about a scholar who goes back in time to study the historical Jesus Christ, only to discover that he cannot find the historical Jesus Christ in any form resembling the man he's expecting to find. And he takes his place. And so you'd have to find out more by reading that story. Prompt number 3. D is for dark. What is the darkest book you have ever read? There's a lot of them, but I'm going to go with Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. And this is essentially a story of a bunch of thugs who are hired to capture or to get Indian scalps. And of course, they scalp the Indians, get money for the scalps, and then just go on a bloody tirade where they just basically kill everyone they want to. And it has one of the most fascinatingly evil characters, the judge. And I don't even want to describe the judge in too much details because he is magnificent, he is enticing, he is forbidding, and it's almost impossible to know who or what the judge is. Even when you read the last chapter, the last few sentences, you're going, who the hell is this judge? And it is absolutely a dark, dark story. Prompt number 4. D is for Dickens. How many Dickens novels have you read? Well, I have read Great Expectations, Hard Times, A Christmas Carol, David Copperfield, and Bleak House. The worst of the bunch, by a wide, wide margin, is A Christmas Carol. I think that is one of the stupidest stories ever told. I'm just not a Christmassy kind of guy. The best of the bunch is Bleak House. And that's a huge, thick novel, 900 pages. And it revolves around essentially a lawsuit, Jarndyce versus Jarndyce, which is how to divide a family fortune. And the outcome of that lawsuit at the end of the book is absolutely brilliant. D, or prompt number 5. D is for dictionary. In these internet years, do you still have a physical paper dictionary? Yes, I do. That dictionary is currently boxed up because I'm getting ready to move. It is not a very interesting dictionary. It is like an American Heritage Collegiate Dictionary that I picked up. I rarely ever use it. I do remember buying it because it originally had a CD-ROM that you could insert into your computer and look up the dictionary that way. But that was many, many years ago, and I believe that CD-ROM would not work with the current version of Windows. Who knows? I have not tracked it down. Prompt number 6. D is for Dagger and Detective. What is the last detective novel you have read? Well, I just started a detective novel today. I started The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler because I'm going to read all of Raymond Chandler this year. And I have read The Big Sleep before, and I am reading it for the third time today. And I just looking at it and reading it over this afternoon, and I was thinking, Chandler really is just a magnificent writer. Prompt number 7. D is for Dostoevsky. What is your favorite Dostoevsky novel? Now that's a hard choice. I have read Notes from Underground, Crime and Punishment, The Demons, and The Brothers Karamazov. It is a toss-up right now between Crime and Punishment and The Brothers Karamazov. I listened to an audio version of Crime and Punishment earlier this year. I have, of course, read that book before, but this year I'm just revisiting all of Dostoevsky. And for this year, as I said, I've read Crime and Punishment and Notes from Underground, and I will be starting The Idiot sometime this week. Now, The Idiot is the only one of his major novels that I have not read before, so that is going to be a new experience. I suppose it could become my favorite, but I don't know of anyone who picks The Idiot as their favorite Dostoevsky novel. Prompt number 8. D is for diversity. Which book from your reading ticked the most diversity boxes? I try not to do that. I don't try to pick books based on some sort of box that you can check, saying, yes, I've read a woman. Yes, I've read a book by a person of color. Yes, I've written by LBGT, or whatever the rest of that comment is. I read books because there should be interesting books. Now, going over what I have read this year, there is one book that probably does check more than one box, and that would be The Death of Vijay Oji by Wiki Esmazi, and I am totally butchering that pronunciation. That is an author who, according to Wikipedia, prefers the pronoun they, them, theirs. And this is a story set in Nigeria, and it is a story of a Nigerian boy who starts to identify himself as a woman. Now, for the most part, this book was pretty good. The author does get a little preachy towards the end, and there's one scene of histrionics at the very end where a mother attacks something with a garden implement. Now, I won't say what that is because that would be a spoiler, but it just came across a little too melodramatic for my taste. As for diversity, I think I prefer a style that I'm finding in the books Vernon Subutex by Virginie Dupont, and that book contains lots of porn stars, prostitutes, lesbians, and transsexuals. But she does not preach to the reader. She just describes these characters as who they are and what they are, and just let it flow from there. And I kind of prefer that style or that method than to the one I found in The Death of Vijay Oji. Prompt number 9. D is for drawing. Who is your favorite visual artist? Salvador Dali. He doesn't do a lot of drawings. He's mostly known for his surrealistic paintings. If you are ever in Tampa, Florida, I highly recommend taking an afternoon off and visiting the Dali Museum. Now, why there is a large Salvador Dali museum in Tampa, Florida. You can have explained to you when you go visit that museum, and it's highly recommended. Now, for actual drawings, I thought about it, and there is one person who comes out way above the rest, and that is Gary Larson for The Far Side. I love The Far Side. I grew up with that. Whenever I talk about cat food, I very often slip into a Larson vernacular calling cat food, F-U-D. And that is the end of the D tag. I'm not going to tag anyone specific because this tag seems to be going on like wildfire and everyone just does it. So if you want to do it and you have not been tagged, consider yourself tagged. Thank you, good evening, and goodbye.